Hi students, this video is intended to help you with your book review assignment that Mrs. Yaggi has given to you. Um, it's kind of an intense assignment, and so I'm hoping that if you need to replay this, rewind, listen to it a couple times, it'll help you with some of your difficulties on this assignment. So the assignment that you have received is here. I'll refer back to this. You should have already read your book, obviously, fiction or nonfiction, off of the list that Mrs. Yaggi and I provided. So if you haven't done that, stop now or read the book. I promise you Mrs. Yaggi will be able to tell if you haven't, okay? Don't worry about all this information right now. We will come back to it. So the first thing you need to do is write a summary of the book. That is going to be your summary. I mean, I can't help you with that. So it needs to be in your own words. We already know about sources like Amazon and Goodreads, so don't cut and paste from there. We can tell. Just tell us what the book's about. Tell us the beginning, middle, and end. Don't do one of those things that you say, ooh, you'll have to read more to find the end of the book. Nope. Tell us everything. Tell us what this book is about. It should be a nice, chunky paragraph, and I'll give you some examples in a sec. Now, we need to get you a book review, a professional book review. For most of you, this will be quite easy to do, especially if you've got a nonfiction book. If you have a fiction book, it might be a little trickier. We will help you do that if you cannot find one. So don't throw your hands in the air and say they just don't exist, because we will be able to find you a book review. Let me show you how to do that. So here's the book I'm going to do. This is off of Mrs. Yaggi's list. The book is Audacity by Melanie Crowder. It's about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. And it is, I've already read it, and I've already written my review. Let me show you that. Here it is. This is the library record of it. Tells me what it's about a little bit. It also tells me that it's in right now. Don't use this as your summary. Obviously, you need to do your own summary for that, okay? If you scroll down in the library record though, it does give you a list of possible places for you to find a book review. Again, this is a fiction book. It's usually there for fiction and nonfiction. They may not have it. It's not all of this list. It's that part of the list. But look at all the reviews that it appeared in. Some of these are very, very short reviews, and that's okay. So if you are having a hard time, that's one place to look for reviews, okay? If you noticed on that list, Kirkus reviews usually appears. Kirkus starred. A starred means that they thought it was so good they put a star by the review. So they will give you the information. Let me show you how to find Kirkus reviews. And this will be true even if my library record doesn't show that it's in a Kirkus review. I do want you to start here at kirkusreviews.com, and it will take you to this page. Lots of stuff here, but we're interested in the book reviews there that appear at the top of the screen. And if you go into that, you can search that way. It'll give you all the historic. It'll say, is it fiction or nonfiction? And you can find it. But if you already know the title of your book, you can just do the search over here on the right. So I just typed in Audacity and I hit find, and there are lots of books with the word Audacity in it. There's one about Barack Obama. There's a whole bunch of fiction. This is a little kid's one, but obviously this is the one I want. It's a starred review. That means they really, really liked it. So when I click on that, it takes me to this. Hallelujah, this is the entire review. It's just one paragraph, which is great. The review that we want you to write is really your review, but we want you to base it on professional reviews as well. So I only have this screen up here because I want to make sure it's the right one. Melanie Crowder, blah, 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 blah. It is the perfect review. So next step is to read this, okay? Obviously we're sending you to this site, so don't copy and paste. We'll talk about plagiarism in just a minute. You have your review. You have found it. So now we need to complete the entire assignment. The first thing you're going to do is write a summary of the book. So here's my sample. This paragraph here is the summary of the book. Now I've highlighted this part in red because that is a quote that I have pulled directly from the book, which is fine to do because I have put quotations around it and I have put my end note. And it's on page 366. Mrs. Yaggi can go look at it. That's it. That's a really good introduction to your book report. You don't have to do that. But she has asked you to give detailed support and examples. So I'm talking about how I really connected with the main character is Clara, how I like how she didn't give up, and here's my supporting details. She gives speeches and fights her way. I need to give lots of details. You can't just say, oh, this book is so good, I just loved it, it's so exciting. Those are too generic. You need to have excellent details and do the topic justice. So the reason you're reading this is for American history. Make sure you address the American history in the summary of the book. Okay, next is my review of the book. This is paragraph 2. This is the whole thing right here. This is my review. Okay, now I've started off, actually this is written by a student. I don't want you to think that I have stolen this. This is from a last semester student, but I'm pretending it's mine. Okay, so this is very generic to say there wasn't a single thing I didn't like about it. But now I'm going to support that with details. It was clear and to the point. I need to give details about how it was clear to the point. Okay, and the student has done this by supporting, it's to be sort of supported with an online book review. So back in my online book review, I did Kirkus review states, Crowder breathes life into the world long, long past, and I've quoted it. It's completely correct. I would argue that that's a little long, and I didn't quite understand. The book is written in poetry, so that's what these lines mean. So it's give without the thought of ever getting back, to ease the suffering. So that's what those dashes mean. But make sure that you're giving supporting details with your thesis statement of I really loved this book or I really hated this book. That's fine to say that you didn't like it, but make sure that you do supporting details. Now, I would argue there's another way to do this, and students have had a hard time with this, so please pay close attention. If you're not going to exactly quote it, but you're required to pull stuff from the book review, but you need to still give credit for that. And I argue that you would do it like this. So remember that there's the actual thing from the review, that Crowder breathes life into a world long past. That's exactly what was quoted here. But I don't want to exactly quote it. So I'm going to rewrite the red part right here. And it says, I'll start right here. I felt I was right there next to her fighting for women's rights. Indeed, the author has given new life to a long ago world while helping the reader understand the amazing achievements of this determined woman. Now that is this thought. Breathing life into, breathing life into a world long past is giving new life to a long ago world. I did not use the exact words. I used the same idea and changed it up. If you are going to lift more than 3 words, so if I'm going to say, provides insight into the achievements, nope, I can't say that unless I actually quote it. But I can paraphrase that and then just do an end note like this. So Kirkus is the author. We don't know an author. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And the period goes after. So this is an idea that I have quote unquote stolen from Kirkus, but I haven't stolen it. I'm giving them credit. You can do it this way with a long quote. It just seemed a little long, so this is the way you're going to do it. With this, you just put quotes. An end note would probably be okay too. This is a paraphrase, but you still need an end quote. Okay, so the last section here is my connection to class, and I'm going to talk about how in class we've talked about women's suffrage, we've talked about immigrants, we talked about how hard it was to support, a family as a woman. I'm going to talk about all those things. Okay, reading audacity made the union and strike seem more lifelike instead of just getting to the top of the cake. So sometimes when we study stuff in class, we just get kind of the basic facts, and this student talked about how because it was a story, it made it more come to life. So that's the connection to class. But again, you need to talk about what you were learning. Immigrants were targeted for easy labor. Yep, that's true. Mrs. Jaggi said it, and I read it in the book. Okay, you have completed the assignment. Yay! 3 paragraphs, summary, your review, connection to class. Finally, you need to cite. You guys have done this before. You know how to cite, and you only have 2 sources. You have the actual book and your review. So let me show you how to do that quick. If you're going to use the Purdue Online Writing Lab, unless you already know how to do this. If you go to that, Google that, it looks like this, and then I'm going to go down and choose the MLA guide because that's the Modern Language Association. And in the introduction, it gives you several choices. I need to cite a book. I need to cite electronic source, sorry, and then I'm going to show it onto a page. And Mrs. Jaggi told me she's not too picky about the actual page as long as you make sure and get these two things right, okay? So again, I'm backing up here. You're going to go to the Purdue Online Writing Lab. They have a menu. You're going to pick MLA Guide, and then under Introduction, you're going to choose Books and Electronic Sources. Now look what happens. Here's Works Cited Page Books, and you can just search for the book. I typed in Audacity and hit Cite. And again, it came up with all those other Audacities that we saw before, but I found the right one, so it was right there, and I hit Create the Citation, and this is what it gave me. It's super easy, guys. Author, title, notice that that's in italics, and then this is the publisher and the year it was published. Citing a book is super easy. I'm going to copy and paste that, okay? Back in my introduction, back here, electronic sources. Now I'm going to find my Kirkus review or my other review source. I'll help you find other stuff if you can't find it. I copy and paste the URL that was at the top of that Kirkus review page. I hit Cite, and it comes up with this. There's the whole thing, the article name, where it appeared, when I accessed it, and the URL. Now, I will argue that there's something wrong with this. And in class, we'll slow down and talk about this. But what's really wrong with this is Melanie Crowder didn't write this review. Melanie Crowder wrote the book. And this automatic citation machine can't tell the difference. So this is incorrect right here. Now everything else is right. The author, the article name, the name of the review, the publisher, all that stuff. It's just Melanie Crowder did not write this review. So I need to find the author is. I went back to my thing and there's no author listed. So it's just the Kirkus editors. And that's why in my end note that I did, in the parentheses, it just said Kirkus. These are anonymous people. I'm sure they're lovely people, but they're not getting credit for their work. So it's just going to be, there's the author. Instead of Melanie Crowder, it says Kirkus editors, period. Everything else is the same. Okay? Much, 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 much better. Those are my two sources. I'm going to put them together. I'm going to alphabetize them. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. I'm going to hang in and indent. I'm going to double space them. Everything you've learned from every other class is exactly the same here. Hanging indent's right there and right there. There's period at the end. It's centered in the middle. We're excited. Alphabetical order, and we are done. The hardest part of this assignment, I think, maybe writing it if you're not a writer, if you hate that, but finding the right book review. Kirkus reviews will have 85% of the books you've read. If not, we will help you find the others. So please come see Mrs. Jaggi or myself to help you find that book review. Review this video to help you with the citations and getting that assignment done. And thanks to the student that I stole her work from to show this, she did a great job last time. And that's why she gets credit for it. Thanks. Come see me if you need help.